Today, we are diving into a concept that might sound a little out there, but trust me, it's one of the most practical tools you can have for dealing with modern life. We're talking about non-attachment. It's really all about finding freedom and a bit of peace in a world that is just constantly demanding our attention. So let's jump right in. You know that feeling, right? Where some bad memory or a worry about the future just gets stuck on repeat inside your head? We've all been there. It is absolutely draining, especially when you're just trying to get some rest. And that mental spinning, well, it has some very real-world consequences. Get this, in the US alone, about 8.6 million people are taking sleeping pills. And a lot of the time, it's simply because they can't turn their brains off. This isn't just a small problem. It's a huge challenge, and it's rooted in having what you might call an attached, unquiet mind. So, what is really going on here? What's at the heart of this struggle? Well, that brings us to our first section, the modern trap of attachment. We're going to look at how our everyday anxieties and worries are basically a product of clinging on too tightly to things in this crazy, fast-paced world of ours. This isn't some new idea, not at all. It's actually a core teaching in Buddhism. Thousands of years ago, the Buddha pinpointed the fundamental reason for our suffering. That nagging feeling of dissatisfaction or stress. And he said it comes from our deep-seated habit of craving and clinging. And this attachment stuff, it pops up everywhere. It's definitely not just about wanting more money or a nice car. We get attached to old, unpleasant memories. We get attached to our anxieties about what's coming next. We get super attached to our own rigid ideas and political views. And of course, we get attached to the idea of wealth or fame. And man, do we get attached to what other people think about us. Okay, so if attachment is the problem, what's the solution? Well, that leads us right into our next section, where we're going to clear up what non-attachment actually is. Because I guarantee you, it's probably not what you're thinking. Yeah, let's bust some myths right now. A lot of people hear non-attachment and think it means being cold or distant or just not caring. But the reality is the total opposite. It's about being fully engaged and present. It's not about not caring. It's about acting with your best wisdom and then letting go of the outcome. It's not a life without passion. It's a life free from the anxiety that comes with clinging so tightly to things. So how does that even work? How can you be totally engaged in something but also let it go? The logic here is actually based on one simple universal truth. Let's dig into the core principle that makes this whole idea so incredibly powerful. And here it is, the big aha moment. It all boils down to this. Nothing is permanent. Everything is always changing. Our bodies, our thoughts, the world around us. It's all in a constant state of flux. And once you really, truly get that, clinging to any single thing just starts to feel kind of pointless, doesn't it? I love this quote because it paints such a perfect picture. Just imagine a little bird trying to soar, but it's got this huge, heavy rock tied to it. Well, that rock, that's our attachment. We're the bird, and trying to hold on to things that are destined to change anyway is what literally weighs us down and keeps us from being free. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it in our day-to-day lives? Well, the great news is that non-attachment isn't something you either have or you don't. It's a skill. It's a practice. And like any other skill, you can learn it. So let's get practical. Here's a super simple 3-step guide. First step, just acknowledge it. Notice the thought of feeling as it shows up. Don't fight it. Just say, there you are. Step 2, and this is the really crucial part, observe it without judgment. Just watch it. How are you relating to it? Are you trying to push it away? Are you feeding it with more thoughts? Just watch. No reaction needed. And finally, step 3, release. Just remind yourself of that core truth we talked about. This is temporary. Just like a cloud in the sky, it will pass. Now, this next idea takes the practice even deeper. The Buddha used this great analogy of a raft. He said you use the teachings, these practices, like a raft to get across a river of suffering. But once you get to the other side, you don't keep carrying the raft around with you, right? You let it go. The point is, you shouldn't even become attached to the practice of non-attachment itself. Whoa. So when we start to actually bring this practice into our lives, the results can be, well, truly life-changing. So let's wrap this all together and look at the real payoff here, the kind of freedom that comes from really, truly living in the present moment. The rewards for doing this work are pretty amazing. You start to feel more peace, more contentment. You have less of that intense craving and anger, which makes so much more space for things like compassion and gratitude. You find you can handle challenges with a little more grace because you get that they're not permanent. And the biggest prize of all, you get the freedom to live your life fully right here, right now. And this final quote just drives the whole point home, doesn't it? It's a powerful reminder that our biggest struggles often don't come from the outside world. They come from our own minds, from our attachment to our thoughts. The power to change our experience is right here, inside us. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to take with you. It doesn't have to be some huge, life-altering thing. It could be a tiny worry, a small mistake you made last week, or an expectation you have for this afternoon. What's just one thing you can practice letting go of today?